Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Final Plan, the Friday show where we run down our final teams, or as close as we can possibly get without having had the press conferences yet. It's Planet FPL. My name's Suj. Just reminding everyone where we are. For the thousands of listeners now, James, they know who we are. But
my name is James. How is everyone?
I'm sure every show we pick up one or two new ones.
Happy Friday.
It is.
Do you know what you're doing this week, Suj?
Well, the Kevin De Bruyne price drop has messed me up a little bit, but I was originally planning to just jump straight back from Riyad Mahrez to Kevin De Bruyne. Don't have the money to do it by 0.1 right now. So I obviously ultimately do want to get Kevin De Bruyne. I only have one free transfer. To make that 0.1, I need to make two transfers, which means a -4. So then I have to question what are the other changes that I can potentially make, which would be Otamendi to Kieran Tierney, because I still feel like that's going to be a punt that's going to pay off if I make that move early. Or Yarmolenko down to McGinn, which would also give me 0.1. But Villa's fixtures are turning a bit
Timing
horrible.
feels wrong for that.
And I've only owned Yarmolenko for 1 week now.
And you got them after West Ham go to Everton this week, you got them 2 home games.
So I'm not sure where... there's not anyone else that I want to get rid of to find that 0.1 to force. Plus, then I'm looking, okay, I understand Kevin De Bruyne is an absolute beast. He modelled his game on me after all. But I'm older than him, so he must have seen me first before I saw him.
I'm sure, yeah.
So he's coming back from injury. Means he'll definitely start, but he may get the curly finger a bit early, 60, 70 minutes.
Will he definitely start?
I don't know, but he's likely to start.
I would think so.
I watched Crystal Palace last time out, and the way they sit and remove all of the space is going to make it difficult for City. Now, City can do what they've done to a few teams and score in the first 2 or 3 minutes, and then you fuck straight away. But if Palace can hold out for 20 or 30 minutes and keep that space tight, then it is going to be a difficult game, much in the same way that Norwich set up against City. So I'm trying to make and find reasons that I don't need to force the move to Kevin De Bruyne this week, but I'd rather not force the move to Kevin De Bruyne this week, have 2 free transfers next week, and then maneuver then. So I may do nothing this week. Captain's armbands on Callum Wilson, as agreed with Tom from Who Got the Assist. We shook hands on that one last Saturday for those that hadn't listened to that show. So armband's still on Callum Wilson, still pretty happy with that. And then the vice captain's armband is on Heung Min Son right now.
I presume you're quite happy with the rest of your squad, bearing in mind you wildcarded before the last game.
Yeah, Ederson in goal, not moaning about. Trent and Robbo, can't argue with. Mount, Maddison, Mahrez, Son, Yarmolenko, Aubameyang, Callum Wilson. Very happy.
Good.
Bench, Kelly, Dendonka, and Greenwood, who's got an injury now, which is annoying, but he's third sub, so I can ride that out. He's only warming the seat that was kept warm by Danny Drinkwater for about 5 weeks, so leave him be.
God knows how you started with Danny Drinkwater.
Yeah, so I am happy, but obviously I can't make that move to Kevin De Bruyne.
You sound absolutely thrilled.
I'm just worried about that not being able to get Kevin De Bruyne. Riyad Mahrez is still no bad shout. I haven't kept in touch with what Algeria were doing in the international break. Mind,
I wouldn't have a clue. That's the honest answer. Sorry, I don't know.
What about you?
I try not to look too deep into the international football because the break just depresses me full stop anyway.
Yeah, it's funny. We were on the way into the studio. You were talking about how at the start of the week you had how many yellow flags?
I think I had 6
or something.
Yeah,
it's stupid. And now they're all gone, right? Bar, give or take 1.
Well, technically, I'm still on 2, but De Bruyne is one of them, which we understand. I think that's just waiting on Guardiola's press conference to say that he's fine before that comes off. We seem to know that he's trained since Monday. So shouldn't be any issue there. Sorry to disappoint and be a little bit dull, but I'm almost definitely rolling a transfer here. I'm quite happy with what I have, and I feel like the way the fixtures are mapping out, I'm going to need to possibly make moves next week, which probably centres around removing Harry Kane. And I'm happy if things go against me this weekend and I need to make moves to adjust some value, switch the formation around. I'm happy to be going -4s, -8s next week and really sort of mini wildcard it. But I'm quite happy. The only doubt for me, I think the only thing I could see me forcing me into a transfer is if Klopp definitely rules Matip out. I may then make a move. But even still, Cantwell's my first sub. Bournemouth away. He's still got a yellow flag as well, but we've seen that he posted videos on Instagram yesterday of him training and scoring a couple of goals in training. So he's fit as well. So quite happy. I'll be going Heaton, the 3 Liverpool guys at the back, Trent, Robertson, Matip, Otamendi, Sterling, De Bruyne, Mount, Pukki, Abraham, Captain Kane.
Captain Kane. This is the week that I think captaincy matters this week more than potentially any other.
I think you're spot on there, by the way. I think it's massive this week.
It's the week of the differential captain, in my opinion. Differential being non-premium. You're going to be almost in the minority of people with a premium player as captain. So many owners of Abraham and Callum Wilson and the like are thinking of captaining those 2 guys based on the fixtures, which is understandable. Very few people obviously opting for the Liverpool guys because of the fixture at United. And then City have a winnable home fixture, but no one's getting too excited about that as well. This is the week of the differential captain.
I think when the stats drop, once the game week had started tomorrow with Everton and West Ham, I think there's every chance we might see Tammy Abraham as the most captained.
Do you think it's going to be the reverse of last week, right, where everybody returns? So last game week
I think it might be, yeah.
We had no captains returning bar Mane from the top 20 or whatever. This week might be everyone gets a little return and then that balances it out and we're on to the next week without a debate.
What you're likely to get is a massive split where probably half the players will return and half won't. And I think what you said in terms of the importance, yeah, I predicted more in the Sky game when we did that podcast. I predicted that FPL's game week 8 would be low scoring. This, I think, is going to be really split in terms of whether people hit their captaincies or not. Because there are still some awkward fixtures in there, like, Liverpool and Man City are both away.
Yeah.
And whatever you think of United and Palace of their respective abilities, they are games that could trick both of them up. So difficult call. If the Chelsea guys blank at home to Newcastle, I think that automatically is going to make it quite a low scoring week if those big guys from City and Liverpool don't return.
Yeah. I'm really, touch wood, hoping and praying for a Liverpool clean sheet against Manchester United. That would really help with the double up that I have and the triple up that you have. That would be a real bonus defensively. And I'm hoping that obviously City can keep a clean sheet as well with Palace. If those 2 keep clean sheets, then I'll feel kind of comfortable because my back 4 will have all returned, assuming they will play, but I think they will play. And then we can build from there. Callum Wilson banging 2 goals. If you gave me 4 clean sheets and 2 Callum Wilson goals right now, I think I'd almost take it, mate, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's going to be in excess of 50 automatically,
isn't it? So interesting game week up ahead. Let me ask you something about hits, because we talked about hits. I haven't taken any all season. You're talking about taking 4 or an 8-point hit next week, and you've already taken a few hits.
Unusually for me.
Do you think that does your overall point score and overall rank affect your attitude towards hits? Because I'm doing not as well as I would like. I'm just outside the top 2 million. I feel like I can't afford to take hits because I don't want to lose more points when I'm already further behind. Whereas if I had a nice cushion, I'd be actually, I can afford to take a 4-point hit. When perhaps psychology should be the other way around.
Possibly.
I need to take hits to catch up rather than not take hits to preserve the points that I already have. But it does play on my mind. I'm like, well, I can't afford to give away 4 more points all of a sudden. Or do you just ignore it and just do what you want to do?
No, depends who you speak to and in what circumstance, right? So there'll be guys who are in the top 1,000 at the moment who haven't taken any hits. There'll be guys in the top 1,000 who've taken loads of hits. So it just purely depends on who you speak to. I think when you're taking hits, the first thing to ask yourself is A, on the immediate weekend, is this going to work for me instantly? Yeah. That's the first question I think you need to ask yourself. Otherwise, for example, can it wait that extra week? That's the dilemma you're going through now, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't feel like it. But really, if you're taking a hit, you should judge it over 2 or 3 weeks, not 1 week, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you can do it that way. You could have the immediate return of it, and then they blank for the next 4 or 5 weeks, and they're sitting in your team. So yeah, it's more than 1 week. But I think when you take that, you need to assess the immediate first. Can I make this point difference up straight away? And when you're trying to make it up as well, can you do it instantly, or are you looking to cover the hit? What would you be happy with? So, for example, essentially you're hitting for De Bruyne for Mahrez if you make that move.
Yep.
If De Bruyne hits an assist and 1 bonus point, and Mahrez is 2 points, essentially you've leveled out at the same.
Yep.
Are you happy with that? The answer.
But then but remember, I'm losing Otamendi for Tierney, so City keep a clean sheet and Tierney.
I get you. But you're doing the hit to get De Bruyne, right? So the benefit, you might go, okay, there's no immediate return on that, but the unseen benefit is Kevin De Bruyne's now back in your squad.
Yes, but I don't see him price rising in the next week.
It's not about the price rise. Ted nailed it on Clash of the Correspondents. He said, don't worry about the value. It's what you might fucking miss out with a guy.
With the haul?
Yeah.
Potentially, yes. I'm really weighing up. This week might not be the one for the haul to come in.
No, I agree with that actually as well, by the way. I think if I was you, I probably wouldn't force it.
Yeah, I'm not going to force it this week, but let's see what happens.
But then he feels, I hate the word essential, but it feels like there might be 2 in the game. Maybe you could argue Abraham as a third at the moment, De Bruyne and TAA being the others. So it feels like you need to have them in. Have you got Tammy?
I haven't, no. After
Jesus.
This week, I could go from Callum Wilson, we've talked about this, there's not much in it in the next 4 game weeks up to game week 12, 13. And then I may move across to Tammy Abraham then. He'll be about 16 million by then.
Let's take that back. Tammy Abraham's not essential. It's just because of his ownership. It's beginning to feel...
That's the issue,
beginning to feel a little bit worrying for those that aren't on him. But then Pookie's ownership's still really high as well, right? And people are coming off.
They are indeed. So let's talk about North v South, the team that James picks made up of the 10 most Southern Premier League clubs, the team that I make up with the 10 most Northern
managed by
clubs.
Unspecified family members' email addresses.
I'm confused by that.
You shouldn't be. Carry on.
I have no idea. Managed by unspecified.
Oh my God, Suj, let's not make a deal with this on the podcast.
Fine.
Your Northern team is managed by your unspecified family member via their email account.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
People have multiple email addresses these days.
You're not from the same person though.
Nah. I have gone heavy with my North team in having triple Liverpool and triple City. So Trent, Mane, Firmino, Aguero, De Bruyne, Otamendi, and then a sprinkling of players in and around. Pope, Luka Dean, Chowdhury, McTominay, Dendoncker, and Pookie still sitting in my team.
I fucking hate it, mate. I'm coming for you.
Yeah, 27 points. But the thing is, if City and Liverpool do well in any given week, then I'm just cleaning up. So the strategy at the moment is just to stick with 7 or 8 big players. What I haven't done and taken advantage of in this is the opportunities that are there for me with the likes of Leicester City, for example. No Maddison, no Vardy, no Soyuncu, no Pereira. That's an issue for me at the moment. I think I've got 1 free transfer this week. I think I'm going to roll it into next week and see. Then I'll make 2 moves. I've already wildcarded, so I don't hate the team. But I do want to remove Luka Dean and go down to Lundstrom potentially, and then find a way to get James Maddison or Jamie Vardy.
Find a way of not having McTominay, Dendoncker and Chowdhury in your squad. Yeah. How have you done that?
Because I've got Firmino, De Bruyne, Aguero and Mane. Do you know what I mean? It's really one of those where I've gone all in on some big hitters.
Yeah.
This game is this challenging game between us is also a little bit of fun and a bit of experimentation. In my normal FPL playing style, I like to spread the money evenly and not put too much into any particular individuals. in this game I can, and I've got City and Liverpool to play with here. So I'm just interested and fascinated over the next 3, 4, 5 game weeks what happens with that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an experimentation.
I'm coming for you.
Of course, go for it. You've got some very good fixtures for your teams now coming up. So
well, it's swung a little bit now because I've got some guys in who are doing better for me. I'm quite happy with it at the moment. I feel like I've been going slowly to try and get somewhere. And one of the things that I'm really debating at the moment is obviously Haller. So Haller is in my squad at the moment with Kane and Aubameyang. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, fucking hell, what have you got? Newcastle at home and Sheffield United at home?
Sheffield United first and then Newcastle.
Yeah. Your 2 home games after Everton away.
Correct.
Nah, bollocks. He's coming out. I'm getting Abraham in. Let's go.
Have you got the money?
Yep.
Yeah, then, I mean, it's not
got
even...
to happen, isn't it?
It's a no-brainer to get Abraham over Haller. As much as I like Haller as a footballer, he is not going to be that massive a points returner when you've got the likes of Abraham side by side. Haller has won more aerial duels by like 15 than any other Premier League player, something like that. Do you know how many points you get in FPL for winning an aerial duel?
Nope.
None. So, yeah, he's a great player and his all-round game is good.
A fraction of something on a BPS there.
Maybe, possibly something. So, yeah, moving away from Haller to Abraham is a
no
very
brainer.
Obvious move, yeah.
Yeah. That would leave me with a front three of Abraham, Kane and Aubameyang.
Mm-hmm.
Midfield 4 of Pepe, McGinn, Mount and Son. Back 3 of Diop, Dunk, Tomori, Tom Heaton in goal. Subs, Button, PVA doing bits. Ainsley, Maitland-Niles, who I do obviously want to move on. And Dale Stevens.
It's a decent 11.
I am currently on wildcard watch constantly for this. I might even do it tomorrow to take Kane and Son out away to Liverpool, reshape things a little bit, and then slowly bring them back in for the Sheffield United game. It's a possibility. I don't think I'm likely to do that, but I'm week to week now in terms of being very close to wildcard in this. But I'm quite happy with it. That front 7, if I go Abraham instead of Haller, is all right, man. Mm-hmm. All right, Pepe's not doing it at the moment, but we kind of think it might come.
It will come soon. Or he could be the new Miguel Almiron.
And because of the value of the Chelsea guys, I really don't need to cut any corners with like Pepe, Son, Kane, or Aubameyang.
No.
You can just stay there. But I might, for example, go... Kane has obviously got Liverpool away and Everton away. So I might then go back Kane to Haller for those 2 games and then go back again. Mm-hmm. But I think if that leaves me with any other issues, that's when I'll be wildcarding. Because I'm quite close to the team I want, I think.
There we go. So tune in next week to see how we did in the North v
I think there's
South.
about 27 points in it now.
27 points in it at the moment. It's swung up to as much as 50 and then down to 20 and then up to 50. It's one of those where City or Liverpool bang and I get the captaincy right, it could open up again. Having said that, I think this is now the time between now and Christmas where you've got the potentially best opportunity with Arsenal, Chelsea having really good fixture runs, and even bits and pieces of West Ham. So good luck with that one.
Cheers, mate. You too.
Now, differential team. We have 0.3 in the bank.
Yep.
At the moment, as it stands, Heaton, Doherty, Otamendi, Matip, Mahrez, Pepe, Richarlison, McGinn, Son, Haller, and Jamie Vardy. Suyuncu, Zuma, Origi on the bench.
Well, that's the first thing to highlight, is that bench. Suyuncu and Zuma on the bench in terms of what I've set up as the bus team.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Burnley at home, Newcastle at home. I think Zuma should be in the team. I'd have Zuma in the team. Well, Matip is obviously a doubt at the moment, so I'd probably play Zuma ahead of Matip.
Experience tells me just not to leave out a Liverpool player ever if you own them.
Sure. But I don't know if we need to make a move. Has anybody jumped over 10% ownership? 20%, sorry.
No, not even close. I think the most owned we have in this squad, probably just to clarify for new listeners, we can only buy players at under 10% ownership. Have to sell if they hit 20%. I think McGinn and Son are both up to around 12%. That's the most. So we've got no immediate concerns from that perspective.
Son still has very low ownership.
I don't think he'll start tomorrow, by the way, while we're on it.
Why?
He's only going to get back today, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or late last night or early this morning. So he could train, he could just fire him in. He's generally quite a fit lad, so Might just throw him in the team. I got a feeling he won't start. That's just a guess.
He would be on the
because I have
bench.
already had a few people ask me, and I've gone, I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's like, we work in Tottenham, but not at Tottenham. I have no idea.
Probably though, just to cover that off for owners on Son, I don't think you can sell him.
Yeah.
And you can't leave him out if you own him.
I've had a price rise on him as well since I've owned him.
When we have in this team as well, we jumped 0.3 off him. We got him in at 9.5 on this.
Yeah. So I'm at that point. It's only 0.1, but he's not going to drop in price. We're not going to have swathes of people selling him.
I think he was one, and you were thinking this as well, Suj, in terms of maybe captaining him this week before.
Originally, yes, until I saw how holy Norwich were.
I really would advise not to try and take that gamble and be clever tomorrow. If he gets you 11, 12 points, then be happy with that.
Oof, I'd take that.
No, what I mean is don't be unhappy that you've missed the captaincy.
Oh, no, not bothered at all. Not bothered at all.
I just think I would put him at 50-50 to start tomorrow.
So are we rolling then with the differential team?
No, I don't want to roll at all. There are 4 players that I'd really like to bring up for this for you, Suj, and then we can look at what we're doing in terms of if we throw Zuma back in, for example. 4 players to cover off, and they're all well under 10% owned at the moment, and I think they're players that everybody can be considering. The first is Alisson. Mm-hmm. We're going to keep coming back to this. We have the exact money, unless Hugo Lloris lost value last night, and I didn't notice. We have 0.3 in the bank. It's a 0.3 jump from Hugo Lloris to Alisson.
Okay.
We could make that move now. Would you just take us out of this for the moment? Would you advise for people who are in and around that Lloris, De Gea area who are injured to make that jump to Alisson?
So the thing with it, I don't know if I would. I was considering Alisson on my wild card. When I spoke to Dan Loco Lord, our Liverpool correspondent, he said to me that it was a waste of a Liverpool slot having your goalkeeper as a Liverpool goalkeeper. And the more I thought about it, right now I'm down to 2 Liverpool players, 2 defenders in Trent and Robbo. I have another slot for a Liverpool player. I would rather that was Sadio Mane than Alisson in a few weeks' time. So I don't think for your regular teams, potentially it's worth wasting a Liverpool slot on the goalkeeper. However, for this team, where we can't buy Salah, Mane, Firmino, Trent, Robbo, any of those guys, and then I think it's a good shout because I do want Liverpool coverage. If we can get Liverpool players, obviously I would want them. So yes, in this team, yes. For their main teams, depends whether you want 3 Liverpool elsewhere.
Yeah, I think for most people's teams, my advice would be not to bother. Yeah. I think you want TAA, probably, and Robbo. I still feel strongly about that. And then Salah, Mane, it's probably your best combination. I'm quite happy with the 3 defensively at the moment. You all right, man, child?
Doing well.
Good. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Very well. How are your teams?
They're doing well. Is your camera not working?
It was a bit bright for the first 20 minutes.
Ah, well.
Carry on.
Yeah. It just looks shiny.
Back onto this team, Suj. So I feel like, obviously, we've got Lloris injured. Heaton walks into City away next week, who's our other keeper, Heaton and Lloris. So we're either making that move now or we're making it definitely next week.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
Well, who are the other 3?
So the other 3 to mention, 2 of them are forwards. Mm-hmm. One is Aaron Connolly at Brighton. Yep. Which I feel is the least likely of our options here, particularly for this team. We'd just be bringing him for Origi to shove up the... What that would do is give us the cover financially if Lloris lose value. So then make that move next week. But I'm more keen on 2 other players. Raul Jimenez is around about 8.8% owned. Mm-hmm. If he scores tomorrow, we won't be buying him in next week. And I would be very tempted to move from Haller to Jimenez.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's a big mistake with the 2 West Ham fixtures coming up. And the final player to bring up is Callum Hudson-Odoi, who's very lowly owned. We also have no Chelsea coverage other than Zuma, which we're not even bothered about in this team. And I don't know if we should be propelling him in for example, with then the idea of getting Jimenez in for, say, Origi next week, then selection becomes very difficult. And plus, who would we remove from Hudson-Odoi when we have Mahrez, Pepe, Richarlison, McGinn and Son?
Richarlison would be the one that I would look at getting rid of if you wanted Callum Hudson-Odoi. Any of those that you have mentioned are all viable options. So I guess it's a case of prioritization. Okay, let's leave Aaron Connolly out of it because that's a real... we'd only need to do that if we wanted to find money.
Yeah.
I think Alisson's a definite shout. With this week in mind, though, we could... Yeah, Lloris to Alisson, I think, is the one that... Because Lloris' injury, done. I think get it done and then decide where we're going to go from there. Haller to Jimenez, we have the money because he's cheaper.
But we might not be able to get him next week because of the ownership.
True.
But then from there, if we rolled that this week and don't go Haller to Jimenez now, we're not going to do it next week. That's what I'm saying to you. So if we go for Jimenez, it needs to be now for this team.
Take a hit and get Alisson and Jimenez. But to be fair, we need
that
Alisson
seems
next
worth.
week.
We got Heaton at home to Brighton.
Keep him in for 1 week and take Alisson next week, which means Haller to Jimenez can be done this week. Richarlison and Origi can hold out for a little bit longer. Hudson-Odoi, whilst he is an interesting option, I don't see him jumping above 10% anytime soon.
Would you consider the idea of... Let me put it to you like this. Which one of those transfers, so Jimenez for Haller or Hudson-Odoi for, you think, Richarlison or Alisson for Heaton, is most likely to give us more points this week?
Hudson-Odoi.
Do you think, honestly?
At home to Newcastle, if he plays.
I'm tempted to wildcard this tomorrow.
And do all of them?
Possibly. Mind you, I said that last week and then I looked at how the team shaped up for the following week and I went, nah, fuck that, leave that.
Yeah.
Yeah, might be an idea, I don't know. I feel like we should go for the immediate.
Which will be Hudson-Odoi.
I'm just concerned that I think like we missed Wilson. There was a small window where we could have got Callum Wilson in this team. And for us to have had a front three of Vardy, Wilson and Jimenez to leave it blank all season would have been a great position to be in. And I'm just concerned we might be missing Jimenez here when they've got a good sustained run.
Yep. Very torn. All four are very, very good, interesting shouts. I like the thought of Jimenez, actually. The more you talk about it, at 8.8%, let's get him in before he jumps above it. I know it's a bit of a sacrifice taking out Haller before those home fixtures, but Wolves have decent fixtures as well. So Jimenez, and then just wait and see. And we may even wildcard and get everyone in that we want to.
I think that's a possibility because I'm unhappy with the defence. And one of the things I'm unhappy with the defence of this is every week it's becoming an absolute ball ache to decide who to leave out. Yeah. It's becoming a little bit
who to pick.
Too much. That said, another Wolves differential I'd like to get in is Willy Bolly.
Yeah.
Wolves' next fixtures, just to cover that off, Southampton at home, then it's Newcastle away, Arsenal away. That's why I feel like, I don't know, is it a bit wrong to be taking Haller out for those when you've got Newcastle as well at home, and you've got Sheffield United at home.
Clean sheets
to Jimenez's Arsenal away, but we don't need to worry about the fixtures so much with Jimenez. And then they've got Villa at home, Bournemouth away, Sheffield United at home, West Ham at home, Brighton away, Tottenham at home, Norwich. No, stop, we're getting Jimenez.
Yeah. Jimenez is coming into the differential team. I'm happy with that. And then Alisson next week or wildcard, in which case Alisson and Hudson-Odoi and Conley. And there'll probably be more that we would consider as well.
I wouldn't actually be surprised if in 3 weeks or so, when we get to the next international break, we're having to sell Jimenez.
You think he'll jump up that much?
I think there is a possibility because of the volatility of the value in that area, which includes Haller, which at the top is obviously you've got Wilson and Abraham. Haller sits in the middle, which is why he's kind of stationary, I think, and he's not hitting the returns as such. He's consistently flowing. And then Jimenez and Pukki underneath. If Pukki continues to fail to score and Jimenez starts scoring, that is a transfer a lot of people are going to be making, I think, who haven't already jumped off for, say, Wilson, Abraham, and might get priced out. I think it will literally just need Jimenez to to have another good week, and his ownership and his price will start returning to really where it should be.
Yep. There we go.
7.1 as well. I mean, it's
good value at the moment.
Bargain at the moment. There's definitely, we kind of discussed this on Monday's People's Poll. There's definitely scope at the moment to be having 3 players in between that 7-8 million value.
Correct.
I've now decided I'm okay with it.
There we go. That's the final plan where we've run down our teams for game week 9. The week where any differential captain could be a really interesting option for you. Differential being non-premium, because I don't think you can count Tammy Abraham as a differential with 40% ownership.
His template, he's your shield to your Callum Wilson sword this week. I think that's what all the clever people are saying online, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Thanks for listening and tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed all of the content that we put out this week. It's been a busy week of stuff. We've got another busy week of stuff coming in next week. So make sure you subscribe, whether you're on YouTube or iTunes or SoundCloud or Stitcher, and get your notifications on. So every time we push some content out, you get to see it. 4 articles on the website yesterday, a range of different things from Adam at 35 Who.
Terrific stuff.
Stephen.
Adam has written a fascinating piece. If you're interested in any way about football tactics, Adam's done an extensive piece which kind of surrounds around his feelings towards Mesut Ozil and the death of the number 10, which is fascinating. Bradley Parker's done his winners and losers from Gameweek 8, which unsurprisingly includes quite a bit of his club, Wolves. Stephen Toomey at Sifgo has done his preview of Watford's trip to Tottenham tomorrow. And FPL Canal has done a really interesting piece on looking at FPL teams' overall points for and against, and has highlighted an amazing different FDR system that he's put together, which I think is well worth a look. And there's one team over the next couple of months that comes out really surprisingly who we should look at, and we may talk about this more next week, and it's Southampton.
I was going to tell you not to announce the team so that people have to go and read the article.
Well, that's already going to make people look at it because they want to know why.
Why? There you go. So, yeah, thanks again for tuning in to everything. As always, do interact with us on Twitter and anywhere else you can find. Other than that, enjoy your Fridays. Good luck this weekend. Ciao for now.
Good luck, everyone. Cue music, man, child.
Fantasy Football Show.